Hello, dear friends. Here we are back. Yes, we are back into this opportunity of studying together immortal messages from the book Psychophonic Instructions. Welcome back here. Let me check on you to make sure that we're all here together. If you're listening to this on demand or watching on demand, when we work with computers, it's fascinating. It's great, but at the same time, it's very tricky, right? So welcome back, friends. Let's be resilient in this journey, in the journey of studying together. I'm just double checking here the systems to make sure we're all together. Today, we're talking actually about mental parasitism. Mental parasitism. Yes. In this chapter of the book, Instruções Psicofônicas, Psychophonic Instructions, by several spirits through Chico Xavier, in this beautiful mediumistic meeting. As you can see here, Chico Xavier, and May, the spirit mentor, and all the other friends that incarnates, that discarnates. So, we were talking about how important it is to talk about freedom management to ourselves. You and I are creatures of habits, but we make choices. I know that when we are incarnated, we don't go to school to learn to make good choices. No. We learn so many things, but we're not evolved yet on earth to create schools in which we are supposed to learn about emotional management, freedom management, self-control. There's always many teachings, but we're still to develop it. But it's important to think about how you and I are free to choose, but there are consequences. So we need to learn how to make the right choices. But our choices, they depend on how we see life, how we see ourselves. We can't postpone good decisions for tomorrow because we don't know if tomorrow's going to happen. How do you know? Well, there's no guarantee. So tonight, we're going to revisit the concept that we are beings who think, and through the feelings and the thoughts, we make decisions in actions and words. If you go to the book Thought and Life, Emmanuel through Chico Xavier teaches us the beauty of our minds. And it shows to us throughout the book that there is nothing better than the Christ consciousness to teach us about how to really tweak our mental system to gravitate to a certain pathway. In the book, Our Daily Bread, chapter 151, Emmanuel through Chico Xavier tells us that all these beautiful philosophies that exist, they are there, they are wonderful, but none of them beat the Christ consciousness. And one of the reasons being that the Christ teaches us the meaning of the reasons why we control ourselves and we work on our freedom management. Freedom to think. Kardec shares with us in the third part of the Spirit's book, the law of freedom. And in the law of freedom, Kardec explains, of course, according to the higher spirits, that we are absolutely free in our thinking. But this thinking will depend on our evolution. We need new experiences, external experiences. And at each thought and feeling, we're going to create associations. Associations. That's the theme of today. Today, we're delighted to know that in this meeting with Chico Xavier and many others, in the Spiritist group, May, in the city of Peter Leopoldo, Brazil, I was there last year, and I tell you this, It's delightful to be in a place like that. They still keep the Spiritist Center so true to its foundation, simple and humble. Many people don't understand because that's the pathway, simplicity, but constant and persistent effort in the good. There, on the night of October 28th, 1954, 66 years ago, the renowned Dr. Diaz da Cruz, this physician from the beyond came to talk to them and to you and to me. Of course, these are immortal messages immortalized in this book, in this program here at Kardec Radio. And we're going to see a little bit about him. Who was Dr. Diaz da Cruz? In his last reincarnation, he was a friend who was born in the city of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He was born in 1853, and he discarnated when he was 84 years of age, 1937. He was a physician. He became a spiritist. How do you think he became a spiritist? Somebody called him to a meeting. He went there. It was a mediumistic meeting. And this was at the end of the 19th century, okay? So he was one of the first spiritists in the world, in Brazil. He comes to know that his father, who discarnated, is revealing things that only he knew, nobody else in the meeting. Through a medium, he got to know of that truth. He went back home, started studying it, and said, oh, there's no doubt that this is it. From there on, he embraced Spiritism in the most sacred way. He was also a homeopathic doctor. He became, the president of the association, the Hahnemann Association in Brazil. And he had this beautiful mission. At some point, the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, which the headquarters were in Rio de Janeiro, he discarnated and somebody called him to step up. He was there for 5 years and then he passed on the torch. And soon after, Dr. Bezerra de Menezes embraced his task and his legacy at a critical time in the Spiritist movement in Brazil. Tonight, Dr. Diaz da Cruz comes as a doctor, a surgeon of the mind, to free you up, free me up. You want to know how? Yes, I can see wonderful friends here joining us. Thank you, wonderful friends, for joining us, right? Often I have to do this program on demand, and I see here the beauty of so many wonderful friends joining us. And Dr. Diaz da Cruz comes to reveal things that we may know, but we may revisit in a different way, may not know. Mental parasitism. You know what it is. Don't worry, he's going to explain to us. His goal, as Arnaldo Rocha says, and you know Arnaldo Rocha, is the director of this meeting. He was a spirit counselor in the spirit rescue works with Chico Xavier, and he comes to introduce Dr. Diaz da Cruz, saying that in this message, he wants us to guard against the exploitation of the shadows. Ooh, what is it? I'm going to begin to read, and we're going to pause, talk about it, Advancing in our quick notes about obsession. You know what obsession is, right? Chapter 23 of the Medium's book, Kardec says, obsession is this persistent, negative influence that one mind exerts over another. But that mind can be incarnated, influencing negatively an incarnated spirit, or a discarnated, influencing an incarnate. But we incarnates can also influence the discarnates, and the discarnates can influence each other negatively or positively. So he says here, advancing in our quick notes about obsession, we believe it is in your interest, in our interest, to learn about vampirism, even superficially, to picture it as a disturbing phenomenon of mental parasitism. What is this vampirism? Remember, Spiritism is a science. So, as a science, we have technical terms. Obsession is a technical term. We can call it spirit attachment, like the psychiatrists in England call it. But in Spiritism, we use these technical terms. Kardec established it, André Luiz coined other terms, and we embrace them. What is vampirism? Go to the book Non Solar by André Luiz, through Chico Xavier. Chapter 31. Vampirism. We're surprised to know that when somebody is absorbing the resources of others, the vitality or any resources, without any cooperation, they are sucking the energies of others, being vampire spirits. But we incarnates can be so, right? I could give you 10,000 scenarios here. Like, for example, when an adult child is home, doesn't want to study, doesn't want to work, is using drugs, doing nothing, that is vampirism. That being is vampirizing that family, incarnated. But of course, here he's also opening our eyes to this invisible vampirism. Let's see what he says. Now he's going to talk about medical terms, okay? To make an analogy and bring it to us in Spiritism. We know that parasitology encompasses all pathophysiological occurrences within which living organisms, when neglected or malnourished, are unable to host and reproduce, helminths and mites that enslave humans and animals. Okay. Parasites inside the body, outside the body, on the skin, they can destroy our lives. We're also aware that parasitism can be external or internal, right? In the manifestations of the external parasitism, we have the assault of carnivorous elements, as for example, the various species of the arachnid on the epidermal field. And in the internal ones, we see the infestation of sarcophagus elements, as for example, the different classes of platelmints in which the cestodes are prominent in the intestines. So we're talking about parasites that stay on our skin and parasites that go inside of our bodies, like the intestines, and they start feeding themselves off of it, but we're losing it all. There's no benefit to us. So they are benefited while we are perishing. Okay? All right. Now, I will go straight to where he starts talking about the mind. In vampirism, which is the concept we gave here, according to André Luiz, we must also consider internal and external factors equally, and realize that in the sphere of our souls, the external factors depending on the internal factors. For there is no depressing outward influence on the individual where the individual itself, him or herself, is not depressed. Super pause. We need to pause and create a concept. I know you may be there surfing, browsing other things and listening. No, but now it's so important that we focus and we visualize. What is he saying? This is an illuminated spirit at the vanguard of humanity who is coming to us to really boost a new thought, a new understanding, so you can live better, and so am I. So do I. So he says, no spirit is going to vampirize us if we are not attracting it. Bottom line. You may say, I know it, Vanessa, I know it. I already know. This is no news to me. Okay, so what may be news to us is, what are we emitting that are like magnets, attracting these minds that are so messed up? And I say this kindly because there are minds who are really messed up. They are of so low vibration that their goals have nothing to do with the highest sphere of the earth, which is the governance of the earth, which is the Christ, the field of the Christ and his team. When I watch that, I remember when I watched it, because at the time, friends were like, oh, let's watch it in the movie theater many, many years ago. The Lord of the Rings, that's what we're talking about. The Middle Earth, that petty thing. And I say this because many of us are here and are more connected with the Middle Earth than with the highest sphere of the earth. We're still thinking about competing and showing off. And we're thinking about how we can be the next viral video. And this is so dense, so low. It connects us with these Middle Earth types of spirits. It's very dangerous. The consequences may be dramatic. So he says, by the magnet of unhealthy and uncontrolled thinking, by the magnet of unhealthy and uncontrolled thinking, humans cause in their own the fluidic contamination of unbalanced entities capable of leading to diseases, and he names the diseases: scabies, ulceration, alcoholic behavior, mental illnesses in general, diseases of the liver, cirrhosis, benign and malignant tumors of varied origin, as well as to the vices that corrode moral life, addictions, sex addictions, addictions in terms of our speaking abilities, people who are constantly talking about others and slandering and this and that and the other. This, and through their misguided thinking, they manufacture for themselves the most serious outbursts of mental alienation. Go to the book by the novels by Emmanuel. 2,000 years ago, Fulvia. She's competing with everybody. She's married and having affairs. And she has power because she's married to a senator and her sister is married to Pontius Pilate. And she betrays her own sister, cheats on her husband, and is one of the lovers of Pontius Pilate. But that's not it. She creates a big plot against Publius Lentulus and Livia because she's jealous that Publius Lentulus, who is not her husband, is interested in Livia, and Livia has nothing to do with it. This is just part of the story. That's the story of the time of Jesus, 2,000 years ago. But how did she go in her life? She had other lovers as well, the chief of the guards. But when she's older, she starts becoming mentally ill. And she has cancer too. Mental illness and cancer. She's in bad condition. Because throughout her life, she cultivated this unhealthy, uncontrolled thinking. That's why at the beginning of the program, we were talking about freedom management and self-control. You and I can feel whatever we like, can think whatever we like. That's the way God created us. But what are we going to choose? As we said, we are in the pandemic and we can choose. Maybe sleeping more, maybe eating more, maybe doing nothing more. But you know, the problem is, and it's a huge problem, that we're just wasting time. And if death comes tomorrow, what have we accomplished? Nothing. And it's not about material accomplishments only. It's about inner accomplishments. And one of them is growing up. Today, I was reading President Obama's speech at the 2020 commencement for graduates. And he said a phrase I'll never forget. He talked about how children behave, which is natural. They do what they like, they say what they like. But when we are adults, we have to grow past what we like. We have to do the things we're supposed to do. We have to grow in our liking. We have to raise this vibration of our want. Because if we keep doing only what we want, look at Fulvia in the book 2,000 years ago. Her end was terrible. It's more terrible than what I told you. Go read the book. Vanessa, I don't want to read the book. No, you want to read the book because the book talks about the positive of the people who did the reverse. Livia. She didn't do what she wanted. She did what was supposed to do. While Senator Publius Lentulus was considered to be the renowned senator in the world, Livia, his wife, because she followed the path of the Christ, simplicity and fraternity and kindness. She was considered to be a little crazy, and she had no honors whatsoever. But then at the end of the book, you see, when she discarnated, she ascended directly to the Christ. And what happened to them? Emmanuel. We're so sorry. That didn't happen to him. Livia never reincarnated again. Never, said Chico Xavier. She never reincarnated again. But Emmanuel has been reincarnated ever since. And she's now, as a friend told me yesterday, he's now reincarnated. He's 20 years of age in Brazil in this pandemic. In spite of all the good he's done, so many lives through Chico Xavier, he is now in hot waters with us. Why? Because he chose 2,000 years ago. Choices that were approved by society, but not by his reincarnatory plan. This uncontrolled thinking, unbalanced thinking and feeling get us in trouble. Dr. Diaz da Cruz. Let me see. Gabriel Inácio is saying, in case someone doesn't want to read the book, maybe they could listen to it. Yeah, in Portuguese, right? Because in English, we're still working on this version of the book 2,000 years ago, Gabriel Inácio. So he says, it is then imperative. Now, he's giving a prescription as a doctor. It is imperative to live on guard against fixed, oppressive, degrading ideas. Okay, he is giving to us the prescription as a doctor. He says, watch out for single ideas. You know those people who are always talking about the same things? They are not positive or oppressive, aggressive, and degrading, morally degrading. No, you shouldn't be using these apps, Tinder, one night stand. You shouldn't. Why? Because that's degrading. You're enslaving your body, and your body is not to be enslaved. This body is not ours. We can't do this to the body. No, we shouldn't be abusing our bodies by putting in toxic food, toxic beverages, toxic so many things. And we shouldn't trash our lives by cultivating bad conversations, slandering, thinking negatively, cultivating melancholy and sadness. He's saying, they set us around more and less disturbances, sentencing us to the common trench of frustration. Every form of vampirism is linked to the deficient, idle, and inert mind that surrenders, misfits to inferior suggestions that exploit them without defense. So when we engage in this cultivation of negative thinking and talking and doing and feeling, we're going to make connections. What kind of connections? Associations of low order. And then we're trapped. You know, Judas, he marched towards it when he realized he committed suicide. And that's what happens to so many people. These spirits, they keep sucking our energies, but they keep sending us to mirage, like in the desert. You see this mirage, and you go to it. When you reach it, what is it? Nothing. And you are in dry lands. That's what happened to Judas. And he killed himself. We need to pause to meditate. Assessment question. Where have we been cultivating these types of ideas? Single ideas that are negative. When you think bad about yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm a bad person. I'm a terrible person. I don't deserve to be happy. These are oppressing ideas against yourself. It's self-obsession. Therefore, let us use. And now he is a doctor comes and we need to listen. The antiseptics of the gospel, the good news, as guarantee of our mental hygiene. Now in the pandemic, many people are talking about hand sanitizers, using gloves and masks. What about the mind? Mamma mia, huh? The mind. What are you doing? What are we doing? Thinking the positive. Yes, I use mask if needed and gloves. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in the good. That means that I am respecting. You know, in my area, people have to use masks. Maybe in your area you don't, but here we do. I respect. And I conform to the social, the norms. But deep inside, I don't go out and think, oh my gosh, that person is bringing me the coronavirus. No. Worse than the coronavirus is what attracts the coronavirus. Worse than the coronavirus is what attracts the coronavirus. Look at the name, corona. It's about the crown. Of course, it's the anatomy of this virus. But the shape, right? We know this virus is all about pride, selfishness, egotism, dwelling, competition, vanity. Vanessa, it's about everything that always existed. I agree. But now we need to cut it. Enough is enough. But can we uproot selfishness like this? Well, Kardec asked this question in the Spirit's book. And the answer is like, the more you think about immortality, the spiritual life, the more you make your priorities. What priorities are? The spiritual life, your spirit, living on earth, right? We are spirits living on earth. We are children of God. We are children of God, and we reincarnated to learn to do good. But to stay here forever? No. Come, learn, work, tests, exams, go. Next. And graduation. Death is graduation. Graduated. Next. You know, if I could, I would ask that in the day that I die, it's gonna be graduation. But not in this, of course, vain style, but just saying, believe I graduated somewhat, maybe not A+, only God knows, but graduated. Vanessa, do you think you're proud of yourself? I say, you know, I believe we're focused. You and I are focused, and we need to believe in the best in us. We have a lot more to learn, but at least from this life, we're graduating somewhat. If there are lessons to repeat, okay, next. And then may I prepare myself well and go back to repeat, to redeem. That's what it is. That's what it is. Simple. It is simple. Kindness to all, he says. Untiring work in the good. Oh my gosh, what is he saying? He's saying the good news brings us the tools to hygiene the mind so we get rid of these ideas, single ideas, violent ideas, degrading ideas, aggressive ideas, ideas of lack of self-love. Jesus said, you're light. Come on, why do you doubt your capacity? Tell yourself, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And I will. I can 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 and I will. Right? This harmonious vibration. You're a child of God. Why do you doubt yourself? Oh, because you don't know what I've done. Who cares? You've done it. People have done it. As Jesus said, why cast a stone? Who hasn't? Who hasn't? You don't want to be greater than God, judging you and sentencing you and punishing you, because God doesn't do any of these things. God doesn't judge. He doesn't sentence us. He doesn't punish us. He educates us. And he says, recipe in the gospel, kindness to all, untiring work in the good. So if somebody calls you and says, can you please help me this way? Say yes. In your house, by email, untiring. Oh, but I'm so tired. Oh, well. The other night, I went to sleep at 4:30 a.m. One day, not every day, though. No, no, no. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Because I was talking to two friends, and we were working on spiritist things. And then I was like, I felt like when I went to sleep, it was needed. There was no other time to do it. When I went to sleep, I woke up. Carlos looked at me and said, what happened? I heard you laughing and I heard you this. And I said, we were working but having fun. And he said, can't believe it. It's 4:30. And I said, I know, but there was no other time. And then he said, I want to see tomorrow. I said, why? Are you tired? It's a funny conversation, right? And he said, no, but you'll be, and then the whole family will. It's like, okay, now I have responsibility here. And I said, oh, Mentor Jones, you better give me something here to prove that this was the right thing to do. I feel it. And he smiled and said, don't worry, come, sleep. Come on over. And then when I woke up, of course, Virginia woke me up. Children always wake us up, especially when it's not school day. She woke up and I was happy and I was feeling light. And I said, oh my gosh, I feel so light. I'm not going to say we need to do this every day because that's not good. But when you need it, you need it. And I had a proof. It's not the first time that I do this. But these friends and I, we exchanged words on the next day and we felt alike. The blessings of working and doing the good beyond extra hours. Imagine the day we do this nonstop. It's that ecstasy all the time. We want to get there, right? We want to get there one day. And then he says, operative optimism means you're optimistic, but you're working towards it. I see people nowadays who say, oh, I know this coronavirus is just going to go away, but are you helping? So we transition more quickly out of this? I don't know. I'm doing my things, but are you helping? Are you praying more? Are you thinking the good? Are you cleansing your heart? Are you working on the energy field of your home? Are you becoming healthier physically? Because this is a time for us to work on our health. Usually we work, and have no time to spend to take care of our health. Now, during the coronavirus, if you say, I'm eating better, I have to cook, I have to sleep more, drink more water, drink more tea, nobody's going to turn to you and say, come on, you have to work, because you need to take care of your health. The whole planet is being asked to be healthier. The coronavirus is coming here to say, be healthier or I'll come and knock on your door. Right, Lara. Lara Liboni, I know you have children and they always wake us up, especially when they don't have school, which is like the day you expect to sleep a little longer, but that's okay. They're excited they don't have to go to school. We're excited we can sleep a little longer, and there's never a match. So what is the other thing? Irreproachably fulfill our duty. Duty is duty. Emmanuel in the book Thought and Life says that our service towards humanity begins where duty ends. Sometimes we think that being dutiful is all there is. But for higher spirits, it's always beyond duty. Sincerity. Are you being sincere with your friends, with yourself, with others? Using masks? Goodwill. Always goodwill. And total forgetfulness of offenses. Simple and pure fraternity. That's the basis of our spiritual health. Okay, you want me to repeat so you can write it down? Write it down because Dr. Diaz da Cruz is giving us a checklist. Okay, let's try this. In the next 24 hours, we're going to exercise this checklist. He says, antiseptic, the good news by Jesus. Number 1, kindness to all. Number 2, untiring work in the good. Number 3, active optimism. Number 4, fulfillment of the duties. Number 5, sincerity. Number 6, goodwill. Number 7, forgetfulness of offenses. And number 8, real fraternity. This is the basis of our spiritual health. Let us practice, if not all, some of this in the next 24 hours and feel how we are boosting our health. Love one another as I have loved you, said the Divine Master. Walk as children of the light, taught the apostle of gentleness, seeking the Lord and those who follow him valiantly for the right conduct of Christians loyal to the Christ. Let us vaccinate our souls against the external and internal scourges of mental parasitism. So he's clearly saying, if we don't want to be exploited by spirit vampires, you and I need to work on ourselves. Many people say, please get rid of these spirits, but what are we doing to cultivate? Hatred, degrading ideas about, crazy things, lies. Sincerity is so important. Maybe many people won't be your friends because you're sincere, but at least you're going to keep the sincere ones. And kindness to all. We can't pick and choose. Be kind to this, but not this. This, but not this. And to yourself. Forgiving yourself too. We need to forgive ourselves. And be kind. And cultivate thoughts of goodwill, optimism, real fraternity. I think Dr. Diaz da Cruz is giving us homeopathic remedies. If I could, I would give you a jar with this spiritual recipe that he's giving us. And we would take one of each a day, one of these pills that he's giving to us. How do you feel? Empowered? I feel empowered because Dr. Diaz da Cruz is literally helping us. Right now, let us then invite ourselves to raise our thoughts to the Creator and thank for His mercy in bringing to us these messages. What a message! What depth! We're delighted, and especially at this time. Dear Mother, Father God, we thank you for opening our eyes. But most of all, we thank you for the kindness of Dr. Diaz da Cruz, who comes tonight to treat us, who comes tonight to invite us to greater spiritual health. And we wish that the whole humanity is given the same opportunity of being aware of it. By visualizing each and every person on the earth receiving this prescription by Dr. Diaz da Cruz. May they wake up and go to sleep, knowing that they are awaited by loving minds. We feel the envelopment of your love. We feel the togetherness of this moment here. And we would like to renew our commitment of taking better care of ourselves by having optimistic ideas, ideas of fraternity and goodwill, and sentiments of kindness, and constant work towards the benefit of all. May we stay under your guidance, feeling your protection as we close these moments of study, of therapy, of deep operation in our minds, in our energy fields, and so be it. Joy to the world. It is such a joy to be here with you. It's such a joy for us to be here together. And it's such an honor for us to receive this message by Dr. Diaz da Cruz at this time on earth. Share the good news wherever you are, and let us practice in this exercise, this recipe of the good news for greater spiritual health. We pray to God that tomorrow we're back here together again in one more moment of immortal messages with these illuminated minds that are always caring for us in the name of God. And tomorrow we come back at Cardiac Radio, where we are always nourishing our souls. Thank you, friends.